Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show, and people have been calling all for the last couple weeks. Where are you guys? What happened? I can't live. This is worse than not having coffee. I don't know what's going to happen. What happened to Ask Brien? Why is it a rerun? We've been getting all sorts of questions, and unfortunately, we did have to take a short break, but we are back. Why did you let them say it so loud? This is the Ask Brien radio show, ASKBRIEN. Mr. Engineer, what does E stand for? This is like Sesame Street. Go ahead.
It stands for effort, excellence, empathy, and, well, this one's my personal one, engineer, because you can't spell Brien without the engineer.
What, and did you add in experts?
Experts too.
And what are experts?
Experts are the people that you have on your show, sir.
And
you need about 10,000 hours. Am I right, sir?
You know what? You are being trained very well.
Yes.
For that, I'm going to give you another little fishy. Here, catch.
Got
okay.
it. Yes.
Gets another little fishy there. Okay. So for those of you who have not listened to the Ask Brien radio show, spelled ASKBRIEN.com. And that's the only way to spell Brien, and we already know empathy, excellence, experts, engineers, and even
empathy?
Yes.
Yes.
And why do we need the word empathy?
Because we all care.
It sounds very anti-business.
Aw.
Empathy is really more concerned with the fact that try to put yourself in another person's position to try to understand what's going on in their mind.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And we have, oh my God, the super duper general manager of KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM, and he's doing some big engineering work. How's it going there, pal?
He's giving us
He's giving very
thumbs up.
quiet. He's giving us a silent.
He's giving the thumbs up.
All right, so without any further ado, Ask Brien is part of the AskBrien.com network. Ask Brien is basically a website that allows people to ask and answer business questions from business community people. So somebody, dry cleaner in Georgia, can ask a dry cleaner in Hawaii, hey, I've got this problem, how do I handle it? Like-minded people, like-minded industries can figure out the solution. Also, you may need to ask an expert. An expert, as our engineer has disclosed, 10,000 hours of work in one specific area will pretty much make you an expert in something. Now, you do not need to have 10,000 hours. You can have other certain events in your life that may make it there for the 10,000 hours. But if you do not, then you will have to go through a qualification period to see whether or not you can actually become an expert. If you are an expert, you can then post your webinars, your ebooks, your videos, etc., on the Ask Brien site. Without any further ado, we have our guest host, Alex Grossman. Alex, are you there?
I am here, Mr. Brien Johnson. How are you today?
I don't know. Was I able to say your name correctly? I don't know.
Yeah, you did a great job. Never complain. You're pretty wild. I'm looking at you on Facebook Live in the studio all by yourself, and you're looking really happy and good today.
Well, you know what? Sometimes being alone by yourself can be the best thing in life. So we also have a very, very good guest today. And by the way, Alex, I haven't seen you on the show in a while either. We've been off the air for a while, and we've been trying to figure out things out. But we have a very good guest. Her name is Dre Fox. Dre, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right, no problema. So, first of all, not everybody knows you, and so we'd like to get a little background. Where did you first begin your business career?
Great question. So I like to say I am a serial failed entrepreneur. I've had a lot of small business ideas in my entire life, but I started to buckle down and really put the pedal to the metal for what I'm doing now about 5 years ago. Business administration background in my education, and then working in a lot of tech startups here in Texas.
Now, Have you spent your whole business career in Texas?
Mostly, yeah, mostly in Texas. I've been here for about 10 years, so most of it is lied here.
And what areas has your business career focused on? You talk about these cereal things that you've worked on. And by the way,
Well,
cereal, we're not talking Kellogg's.
yeah, definitely not. That actually sounds amazing. But no, so I've always been a creative at heart. I come from a very long line of an entrepreneurial family. So when I was younger, I was that person who started the lemonade stands. I had the bracelet making, company, and then I started a bakery after when I was around 20. But when I moved to Texas, I realized that the big tech boom was here. So I went back to college actually a few times to get a few different degrees. And when I came out of that, there were so many amazing opportunities to be in business in Austin. And I started with a lot of software startups. And then that just blossomed into having more and more and more of my own ideas and skill sets, which led me into this wonderful career in social media consulting.
So what is that? What is social media consulting?
It can look like a lot of different things, but predominantly I work with leaders or small businesses to convey their message on social. So for Time of Joy Media, which is my company, I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I do consulting, and I also run group coaching programs for people who want to, kind of learn the process with others. But sometimes it's dealing with maybe like the CEO of a company or someone who's trying to develop a product or a book or something like that. And then other times it's working with CPG brands, health brands, and medium-sized companies to just really make sure that they are nailing their social strategy across the board. So I help them really hone their message and get their point across, but also convert it to sales.
And how many people work at your company?
Well, I am a company of one, but I am.
That's just like me.
Yes, I am a company of one, but you would be surprised with scalability and a lot of the systems I have in place. I'm roughly serving, anywhere from 30 to 70 different people per month.
And what exactly do you do for these 30 to 70 people?
So it can be kind of a grab bag. I do have high-level one-on-one coaching clients. These are people that have really carved out the one-on-one hand-holding time with me. But then I often just work with businesses for one-off sessions or touch points throughout the year to ensure that they're on track. So it might be that it's in the start of the year, we map out their entire social strategy, and then each month I check in with them once or twice to ensure that we're, measuring against all of the different benchmarks that they want and need, and then we kind of pivot as necessary. Then, like I said, I also run some pretty large group coaching programs for social media that are geared towards more beginners, and those can have, 30 people in a course at one time.
Wow. So now your expertise is in what category? Is it social media, or is it a specific area of social media?
It's mostly social media in a whole. The major platforms that I focus on are Facebook and Instagram, though I am learning how to use LinkedIn more for marketing and Pinterest more for marketing more than ever. But Instagram is certainly my zone of genius and where I spend most of my time with my customers.
So one of the questions I have had and some of my guests have asked, now Instagram, I'm more of a Facebook person, I'm old school more, so I'm trying to understand, what is the difference between Instagram with the pictures that they have and Pinterest?
Yeah, that is a really great question. So it's not that they are completely different. It is that they are used mostly for different things. So Instagram is a platform where you primarily share your own content, and you are measuring your success with how many comments, likes, and engagements that you're getting from people who appreciate that content that you put out. And typically for most people, that is a once-a-day type of post. Pinterest is more of a visual platform where you're sharing not only your own content, but content of others. So you could repin, a ton of recipes that you like, or you could repin outfits that you enjoyed. And it's not about connecting a message. It is primarily about the visuals and the utility of the post. So it's not like you have personalities on Pinterest. Instagram is rife with people who have built up these communities, and they're the figurehead of that. Pinterest is just a sea of articles and pictures that you might be able to save to a board for further use. So for people who are looking to, if you were to say you're a business owner, I would say Instagram is where you would talk about your mission, your brand statements, your pillars, your offerings. And then Pinterest, you might use a really souped up shot of someone wearing your clothes and link it back to your store. But it would have no caption. It wouldn't have any mission behind it. It would be more of a visual driving to a sales purpose.
That's very interesting. And when you say, well, I don't even want to go there. What do you do to get a site going? So if I decided today that I wanted to have an Instagram site and I haven't had one, I have a Facebook site, what would you recommend that I do to create something?
Yeah, okay. And if we're talking about you as an individual,
no, as a business,
or as a company, as a business, okay, yeah. So as a business, what I would say is there is a big difference between how you use Facebook and how you'll use Instagram. Facebook is great for sharing articles, longer form content, maybe things that are a little more buttoned up, if you will. And Instagram is a place where people want to connect more authentically with you. So if you're a business on Instagram, what I would say the first step you should do is really understand your 4 or 5 core competencies of what makes you different or what you can really hang your hat on. Is it your origin story? Is it the quality of your products? Is it, the ethical standards that you use? Whatever those might be, what are the 4 or 5 things that people absolutely need to know about you in order to appreciate you versus anybody else on the platform? Then it's kind of finding how you want to convey that message. So for some businesses, that might be people speaking on video. That might be static images of lifestyle content showing people utilizing their products. Or it could be kind of an aggregation of video and photo and flops back and forth. So it's kind of first starting with the content ideas and then saying, okay, how do we want to visually represent this? And how can we get these points across on this platform? Instagram is incredibly visual. It is just a feed of visuals. So it's really more important than Facebook to ensure that you're kind of telling that brand story in images. And then the last piece of that is the caption portion of Instagram is a lot different than Facebook. It is about finding out how you can connect with that customer on the other side of the phone. What do they need to hear from you in order to appreciate your product further? What do they need to understand about your business to have a grasp on why your prices are maybe higher or your process is longer? How can you really drive that home in a way that is informative but also light, fun, and easy? That's kind of the basics. There's definitely a lot more to it, but I would say that is certainly the base level for starting out on Instagram as a business.
That last portion sounds like branding.
Certainly, yeah. Instagram is, especially for businesses, it is about branding yourself and creating elevation by standing out against the competition, especially if you're in a saturated market like clothing, perhaps. I don't know why I keep going for that, but clothing or even restaurants. The first question people are going to be asking themselves is, why would I buy from you? And if you can't clearly demonstrate that, or at least paint the picture of why your life is going to be so much better when you wear this pair of shoes, or how you're impacting the environment when you buy this brand, then you won't be coming across as successfully as you might want to be on social.
Well, I make the best veal parmesan, so that's why they're coming to me.
Yeah. So Brien, let me ask Trey a couple of things if I can. Hi, Dre. It's Alex. How are you?
Hey, very good. Thank you.
Hey, I have to say something. For everyone listening, they probably, those who aren't really familiar with this, and that's what's really great about Ask Brien, is that, we take small and medium businesses who may not really understand how to market socially and what this is all about. A lot of them are brick and mortar and really need to do it. You just basically gave a master class in how that works. I am very impressed. There are very few people that I know that can put it down as quickly and as simply as you did. And I'm actually really impressed. So thank you for doing that for the audience.
Yeah,
It's really quite good. I'm sorry.
Well, one of my passions is small business owners, and I really have a bleeding heart in a lot of ways, because these small business owners are the ones that don't have marketing budgets. They're doing it themselves, and unfortunately, if you didn't grow up with social media like someone like myself did, it can be a really difficult concept to grasp and very quickly turn into a rolling set of advertisements or like a catalog or something that it shouldn't necessarily be on social.
And I think that's a very interesting thing, and that's where I was going, is that if you listen to Brian's questions there, they were really the way a lot of our small business people look at it. They say, I really don't understand the difference of how you market on Instagram versus Facebook, because a lot of us know you can't do it the same way. Things are different, high touch, right? Instagram can be extremely high touch. People will view it, 1,000 times a day, literally scrolling through your information. So there's quite a bit there. That's really impressive. But I think the questions I would ask you is that one thing I will say as well is that I get why, looking at your website and learning more about you, I get why you have certain classes and courses up there, because you have a unique ability, it seems to me, to be able to train people on how to do this. So the question is, when you're working with a small business, say, a lot of people will say, well, what you really need to do is hire someone to manage your social profile. But it seems to me like you also feel that's a good thing, but it's also something you can teach people to do. So how do you feel about that, and how do you recommend that people go about that?
Great question.
Boy, do you like to put people on the spot, Alex. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's the job, right? Okay.
Certainly. Well, so over at Time of Dre, that's my profile on Instagram, my DMs on a weekly basis are from people who are small business owners saying, hey, usually it's a message like, hey, Dre, can you help me? And I always start out by asking them a few sets of questions. And it is usually the main one is, honestly, how much time do you have in your week to dedicate to a project like this? Because if the answer is, this is going to really suck my energy dry and I have no time for this, then I usually say, hey, you know what, you can hire somebody to do this for you, and it will be a huge load off your plate, and you can invest in that. And that can range wildly from $800 to $2,500 a month. But for the people who say, I have $0 and I do have some time, then it is all about really kind of unraveling what they need to convey and how we can work together in order to give them a very simple strategy that will work. And here's the thing, is one of the biggest challenges I get are from businesses like doctors' offices, dentists, people who say, listen, my content for social media couldn't be more boring. I run a warehouse. Like, why would this matter? And I always challenge those people. I think every business could have a place on Instagram or a visual platform. It's about telling the story of what being a customer of yours is like. It's about showing the people in the office, the people behind, the people who work in the dentist's office, the happy customers when they leave, the new equipment that you're getting in so that you can provide a better service.
Listen, I don't mean to interrupt. We got to take a short little break. We'll be right back.
Kyle, guess what's coming up?
It's the KHTS Home and Garden Show at Emergency Expo.
April 25th and 26th at Central Park.
Terrible place to interrupt. She was on a fantastic roll there. So I understand. Oh, my God. Dre, are you there? Hello?
I am. Yep, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Alex asked me that dumbass question, and Peter stopped me, and we're done. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. So
That's true. And this is an opportunity that is like no other. You're going to get, like you just said, about 20,000 people over the weekend to come and check out your business. So there's still vendor opportunity.
That's the only question I have. If a vendor is listening right now and they're saying to themselves, that's what I want to be a part of, now what?
You can call 298-1220.
Yeah, I can give you the roadmap to it for sure.
magic and money. Two easy things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. No, there's a very I'd like to also continue with where she was going there. I mean, there's a very interesting thing.
Back this thing up and
We've run into with a lot of these small businesses and the people who've already tried this, and I think this is somewhere I can tell how good you are at this. There's somewhere that people go is they get really, he gets like this occasionally. They get really excited. Our viewers get really excited about the shiny new object. I'm going to get on Instagram, but I'm going to be there for a week, or I'm going to get on Facebook. I'm going to do it for a month, and then they burn out, right? Because they don't really know why they're doing it. Boy, he is being absolutely annoying right now because he's not listening to us. He's got his headset off, and he's not listening. So anyway, I think that it's kind of important to tell people, yes, if you're the kind of person you think you're going to do it, you're going to burn out, hire someone to help you, right? Or learn that it's like going to the gym and working out, you have to do it every day, right? I think it's, in your own words, or if you feel that way. Yeah, not everybody has your physique, Peter. Not everybody has this perfect Schwarzenegger-like Mr. America physique, okay? Some of us have to actually work at it, okay? Yeah.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. And you're listening to the Ask Brien radio show. Mr. Engineer, how do you spell Brien?
BRIEN.
And what does the E stand for?
Excellence, empathy, engineer, and effort.
Close, but I'll give it to you. We're right back here now. We have our co-host, Alex Grossman, and our guest, Dre Fox. Okay, Dre was talking to us before I very, very, very rudely interrupted her, and she was going over the ad rolling and other items. So if you recall where you're at, continue. If not, Alex will re-ask the question because I'm the teacher and he's a student.
No, I
Go ahead, Dre.
I was talking a little bit about how I'm frequently challenged by small businesses that believe their business might not have a place on social. And honestly, even if you were a mortician up to, a dentist, a doctor, there is absolutely a place for you. It is just all about telling the brand story and the journey. So a lot of times I've worked with plenty of dentists actually, and the instructions to them are not showing all of the technical sides of it, but it's showing the happy customers, the friendly doctors, the clean environment, the gift bag that you get when you leave, kind of painting more of a picture of what it's like to be a client and customer, and those will always perform, they'll always perform decently well for the business and at least be a great placeholder so that when I look you up on social media, you have something there for me to see about what you offer.
And we were talking about, so let's say you have a small business, you've never been on Instagram, You might have a Facebook account, LinkedIn, and Twitter, but that's all you've got. And you're just trying. You've got a business that's been going on for 3 to 5 years, and you're trying to figure out ways to grow it. And you have a little bit of time, not a lot of time, to put some effort into a new social media. So we've determined that Instagram is probably the most likely place. And what would you do to go from 0 to 10,000 in the next 1 year?
Awesome. Okay, I can certainly give you the formula for growth. The first piece of the puzzle is going to be creating an Instagram bio that actually attracts people to follow you. And small business owners are usually falling the most victim to using that as like a place for data. I go to it and it's tons of info, tons of random bits and bytes about the business. And really what it should explain is what the page is going to be providing, like what you're going to be offering on the page. So advice about how to live a happier life, or, fashion tips using our products, whatever it might be. And then a few pertinent pieces of information that you're constantly asked about the business, and leave everything else out of that. People don't need to know all of the gory details about the business. Just make it very applicable for why I'd follow you and any major questions that you're constantly asked over and over again. But beyond that, the content, of course, is going to be king. And if you're a small business that wants to have something like 10,000 followers, that means 10,000 people have to find your content interesting enough to watch or to consume. So it's not about making it flashy. It's not about spending high-dollar budgets for photo shoots and videographers and things like that. You can certainly do this with a newer iPhone, but it's the storytelling, the visual storytelling of what's happening here. How am I envisioning myself utilizing your products? How am I visualizing myself in the customer journey for you? And is that exciting to me? So if you are really trying to look how to represent your business online, I would say, okay, back to the core competencies. Why are you different? What makes you interesting? It doesn't need to be exciting, but what makes you interesting to your customers? What have your top 10 customers said that they've loved about you? Why is it that they keep coming back? And honing in on those pieces and saying, hey, we really have gold here. People say that we're the fastest. They say that we're the friendliest. They love our margaritas, like whatever it is, and trying to find ways to showcase that over and over and over again as the months go on, so that people start to know you for one simple thing. Hey, I know I need a plumber, but these guys are the fastest, or at least that's what I remember them saying, so maybe I'll go check out their page and give them a call. Or I know that this little taco place on the corner, they always say that they have the best service, so maybe I'll go check them out. And that is what people want to follow. They want to follow content where they can kind of visualize themselves in the message or the customer journey, and that will really help. So definitely just honing in on that and making sure you're clearly conveying your message over and over and over and over again. Now, there are a few little extra things, like you need to use hashtags and a location on every post, which will really help you be discoverable to your local, regional audience so that they can find you. Because if you don't use hashtags or a location on your post, your content will just go out to the followers that currently follow you, which in the beginning might not be very many.
Can you explain hashtag in an Instagram setting versus Twitter, and is there a difference?
Yes, certainly there is a difference. So Instagram allows you to use 30 hashtags per post. And typically the main problem I see from people that are inexperienced with hashtags is that they assume using bigger hashtags is better, meaning like hashtag love, hashtag dog, hashtag happy. But the way that Instagram aggregates the hashtag data is it's like a waterfall. So if 300 people do hashtag dog at the same time, it's just a waterfall of posts, and it's too much for people to actually reach out and grab it and see what you posted. So for small business owners, it's about creating a list of 30 hashtags that is going to put their content in front of their ideal customer. So here's a perfect example here for you. I call this kind of like my fishing method. If you sell bottled soda, your ideal customer probably isn't searching the hashtag bottled soda. But a lot of business owners think very linearly, and they're like, okay, this is what I'll use. But we need to think about, okay, the college student after midterms, what would they be looking at where they might want to see a picture of a bottled soda? So when we would go down the rabbit hole of, lifestyle hashtags, maybe food and drink hashtags, local hashtags, so that we might have a better chance of getting in front of them more appropriately, if that makes sense. But yeah, 30 hashtags on every post that are going to be putting your content in front of the right people is definitely the way to go.
So how many characters did you say in a hashtag on Instagram?
So you can have 30 unique hashtags on every single post. The character count of the individual hashtags, I don't believe matters, but typically for a small business that might have under 5,000 followers on Instagram, they should never use any singular hashtag that it has more than 500,000 uses. So it's been used on 500,000 posts. Anything below that is good. Anything above that is much too big for a small business owner to be competitive in that hashtag. So, for example, if Kim Kardashian right now, she posted and she did hashtag love, she might show up in the top post because her account is so powerful. But if you went on there and you did hashtag love, your post would literally be gone in seconds in the waterfall of posts. So we really just want to optimize for small businesses to use small, competitive hashtags that are really relevant to their ideal customer.
Like Ask Brien. I should use Ask Brien.
Well, so for you, right, if you have an Instagram account and you know that only people who can consume your content are people who live in LA, let's just say that for now, right? You would want to be using a lot of hashtags that were around the region. So you'd be using hashtags like, I don't know, Los Angeles and LA, and those are big.
You mean like Beverly Hills and stuff like that?
Right. Those are poor examples because those are gigantic. I would have to do the research. But you would want to use a lot of your hashtags that were geo-specific because I can't consume you elsewhere. And then you would want to blend it with some hashtags around the topic that you speak about. So, if it was entrepreneurialism or things like that, then you would be able to use a few of those as well to make sure you got it in front of the right people.
So you started out.
So Dre, let me clarify that for someone like Brien on this. So he would put Los Angeles entrepreneurs, and there's a chance. I mean, that's a bit too big of a city, but there's a chance that people would be searching for entrepreneurs in Los Angeles, and Ask Brien would probably come up.
Yep, like LA CEO, LA business owner, whatever it might be. Then we're kind of saying, hey, we're dangling this content in front of you because we know you're interested in this topic. So hopefully you'll click on our post and give it a watch, give it a read, and maybe you'll click follow and become a customer.
So the hashtag is kind of limiting the, in other words, taking the number down. So as opposed to having 4 billion people in the world, you start adding on hashtags like Los Angeles, now you're taking it down to 18 million. Then from Los Angeles, you take it down to entrepreneurs. So now you're taking it down to, 2 million. Then from is that how it works?
A good analogy would be, so imagine the 30 hashtags are all individual, and right now you cast a line of 30 individual hooks into the waters. But we want them to each be attractive in different ways, right? So maybe some has a worm on it, some has cheese on it, right? And that is the different sizes. So some are really big, some are really small, some are really niched, some are more general. We're trying to just kind of cascade down saying, we're going to put out 30 irons in the fire, and hopefully that this will get in front of enough people so that they'll click back and visit our page and see what else it is that we have to offer. So if you only use one hashtag on a post, you'd only really have one shot. If you use 5, you have 5 shots. If you use 30, which is the max, you get 30 chances. So I always recommend using 30 because why not? It's just a good practice, a good practice to do.
So when you're searching for somebody, right, is it using then an algorithm and then trying to come up with as many close hashtags as possible, and that's how it's determining where to go?
Yeah, so Instagram has 2 different ways that you can become discoverable. So I could either go to the search bar and type in a type of account. So I could say something like fitness, and people who have used the word fitness a lot in their accounts would pop up, and then I could just click on their profiles and take a look. Or I can search within the hashtags. So let's just say right now, Brien, you posted and you used Los Angeles on your post. And me, as a gal living in LA, I have decided that I want to go scroll through the LA hashtag and see what's going on. Well, there you are, right? There you are. And then I might click on your post and say, wow, this radio show is perfect. Like, this is what I'm looking for. And then click the follow button. And that could happen for hundreds of people on every hashtag that you use as the months and months go on.
Now, to build a network, we talked about trying to build 10,000 in 1 year. I imagine you have to do a lot of posts to get to that kind of number. Is that how it works?
Absolutely. So being consistent on Instagram is more important than the actual amount. So if you commit to 3 posts a week, then commit to 3 posts a week. If you can only commit to 2 a week, then that's what you can do. My main guideline that I recommend is 4 times a week for people who are really trying to gain traction. But if that is not manageable, if that feels like a burden to walk up, then of course doing 3 or 2 will work just fine. But you won't receive as much growth because certainly, just the law of numbers, you're not going to be putting out as much content with as many hashtags, which won't get you in front of as many people.
How do you determine if you're successful? So, in an example, let's say I'm doing a post every other day, so I'm doing 15 a month, which is close to 4 a week. How do I know whether or not I'm doing well or not? So, in other words, how many followers would you anticipate that you would get? And I know that's a very, very broad question.
It's so funny. I actually got asked this question yesterday, what the measure of a successful Instagram account is for a business. And first answer is that you're doing it. It really is a challenge, and especially for people who don't love social, I congratulate you for even showing up and making the post. Beyond that, the measure of actual success shouldn't be in the number of followers. Now, that definitely helps, and that means you're doing something right. But if you believe in the principle of 1,000 true fans, it's not about having 100,000 followers who won't buy your product. It's about having 100 followers who are obsessed with your product and can't wait to buy it every single time that you promote it on your Instagram account. So overall, I would say that you are being successful if you're receiving healthy amounts of engagement. And engagement on Instagram is likes, comments, and people following you pretty much. So if you notice that you're going up in numbers, some people are commenting on your posts, you're getting a few likes, and that increases as your skill set increases, then you know you're on the right track. Now, if you've been posting 15 times a month and you gain 1 follower and you had 0 comments and nobody's checking you out, then we would want to go back and optimize and really take a look at what needs to be changed in order to become more attractive to people to follow you.
Alex, are you there? I think we lost Alex.
I think so, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well. Eventually he'll call back in, maybe. Anyway, because he had a question he wanted to ask you. That's why I was going to try to bring him back on. So we have about 2 more minutes before we're going to be taking a break. And, you talked about the number doesn't matter as much. It's the engagement. Is there a percentage engagement or something?
Yes, so typically you are going to want to shoot for a 5% engagement rate, which there are engagement calculators online that will help you run your profile through it and calculate that for you so you don't have to do it manually.
So this has nothing to do with marriage.
Right, yes. No,
Engagement.
definitely not. But around 5% shows that you're healthy. And if you are really much lower than that, like around 1%, you probably need to optimize your hashtags or work on your images a little bit more.
How would you optimize a hashtag?
Well, if the ones that you picked the first time clearly aren't working, when I say optimize, essentially that just stands for pick different ones. Try different ones. Try something else if what you're doing is not currently working very well, and see if those work a little bit better for you.
So we're not talking SEO.
Nope.
The
No.
optimization SEO.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Just optimizing your own little hashtag list. If they perform really well, you keep them. If they're not performing well, you go back to the drawing board. I personally have about 10 hashtag lists dedicated to different topics like entrepreneurialism, social media, and even food. And I kind of just rotate that around depending on what piece of content I'm posting that day. So I'll use food hashtags for food, business hashtags for my business posts.
Well, that sounds great. We're going to be taking a short break, and we'll be back.
Kyle, guess what's coming up?
It's the KHTS Home and Garden Show at Emergency Expo.
April 20th.
I got dropped for some reason, but
Over one weekend, over 20,000 homeowners
a flush.
visit this every
Oh,
single year.
it was a flush. I just got dropped really quick and came back right back on. But I'm really enjoying that. I mean, this is definitely the master class on how all that works. I mean, I'm really very happy. Dre is lining herself up for her courses because these, not selfishly at all, but these are actually great things for people to learn in courses. I mean, most people will get a lot of information right out of what's being said here. It's pretty incredible. So I'm honest. Being honest with you, a lot of people will not even tell you how any of this works. They just don't want to tell you anything. And people like Brien really don't understand anything about it, not to knock you, Brien, but how Instagram works or what the difference between that and Twitter is and how you just about get it. And that's why most people fail in small businesses. They don't want to learn the best practices, right? And they just don't get it. So.
Well, it's a lot to learn. And I actually, something we can talk about later, but I have a free 1 hour video on how small businesses should create their Instagram bio and their Instagram appearance, basically their resume on Instagram. I've actually never sent it to anyone because I created it, and then the projects that I was going to do with it, I didn't have time. But it just is sitting in my video portal, so I could give you guys the link to share. I don't know where you share your links, but I think it would be really helpful for small businesses. It's totally free. There's no sales involved with it at all. So
on Ask Brien, it would be fantastic to share on Ask Brien, right? Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's ready to go. I did all the marketing and uploaded everything with it, but then it never went, the project never got off the ground. So it's a really awesome video that's just sitting there. So I'd love to make it a resource.
And as an expert in Ask Brien, there's a place where you can actually post that, and we can push people over to it. So I think that's a great thing. Yeah. We can reflect it out. I am not. I've been really good to let you run the show.
Your hometown station.
Welcome back, KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. We have some guy here, and he's my host. His name is Alex. Grossman. Did you hear that, Alex?
Wow, Mr. Brien Johnson, you're a little animated today.
I'm animated every day. In fact, a lot of
I
people
love it.
people think I'm a Simpson character. And then the little kid, and then Bart, and then we've got our great special guest. I don't know why the engineer's trying to play around with this stuff. I don't know why he doesn't like Dre, but Dre is back, and she's going to be talking to us. So, Fox, got it. All right, go.
Barely
Okay.
got
I have to teach the engineer a little bit who's boss. Anyway, we were back, and when we had this little break here, I'm like astounded, and I can't wait. But Dre has a little video that she has worked on that can help explain a lot of things about Instagram, and she's going to be placing it on the Ask Brien site and giving us the link. And we're very excited.
I wouldn't call that little, though, Mr. Brien. I would say that 1 hour is not a little video.
I don't know how long it is. Have you seen it?
Yes,
I
it's about
thought
an
I'd be an
hour.
expert. Come on.
Well, I need 10,000 hours. Alex, you've done this show what? An hour show. We have 120 episodes, so you're going to be doing this for 9,900 hours before you can become an expert. So you got a while to go, pal. You'll be getting Social Security by then. Anyway, we're back. So she's going to be providing us this link. That's pretty amazing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this link?
Yeah, this is a 1 hour free video training of the business bio blueprint, which is how to optimize and set up the appearance of your Instagram account for attracting customers. Because really, if we get there, they click on your page and it's looking a mess and you don't have the right information, you can lose out on sales, followers, and conversions. So this 1 hour free video is definitely a game changer for everyone who's just like, I know I'm not doing what I could be, or I need to get this set up. It will give you the bio of your dreams right away.
So, Alex, this is going to replace your jumping jack hour video. So I just want to let you know.
Oh, no,
don't be
please
so angry.
don't. Please don't do
Don't
that.
get so angry about
That's
that.
mean.
But
That's mean.
the jumping jack one is gone, and I'm sorry you're now at number 2. But we'll be very happy to put your jumping jack one number 2, and then of course my Rocky theme in the beginning will be number 3. Okay, so we are back, and we have about 3.5 minutes. So, Alex, did you have a question that you wanted to ask us? I thought you were salivating when I looked at you last, but
I was. And Dre, I really appreciate what you're going through here and what you've been able to really help our viewers get to. But I want to ask you a couple things real quick, so I'm going to fire them off if I can. So we went through your background, which was fantastic. You definitely know your stuff. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, knowing the little that I know, very, very impressive. But one thing that Brien had asked you, he said, hey, all of what you're talking about in Instagram, it sounds like you're doing a brand. So I think people have questions about how do you turn building your brand into sales or growth. And to me, they're a lot the same. But can you touch on that a little bit?
Well, what I would say is, people want to purchase and consume brands that help them be a better version of themselves or get to whatever goal it is that they are wanting to achieve, whether that's a better lifestyle, better diet, whatever that might be. So the brands and businesses that show up on Instagram that can convey how they can help you do that will convert to a lot of sales. I follow tons of different clothing brands, small business owners that maybe I follow tons of restaurants, small restaurants, and the ones that I am always wanting to go to are the ones that really help me understand what it's exactly going to be like when I get there, how delicious their items are, how much fun it is at their place, and that brand recognition now when I'm thinking of like, hey, where should I recommend for a girls' brunch? Oh my gosh, you got to go to Gabriella's. Like, that's the place that always has the fun pictures of their brunch on social media. And it really is just pretty cyclical. You tell your brand story, you visually show it, you reinforce that in the minds of your customers, you show them what life is like doing business with you, and the cycle just kind of continues until they can't think about anything else but your brand or your business when they're looking to make a consumer decision.
I think that's really powerful, and I appreciate that explanation. I think that's a very powerful way to look at it. I have a couple other questions for you regarding your particular company and your site. One thing that you said is that you have classes or courses on your site. Are they personal? Are they internet based? Are they phone based? How do you get this information over to people?
And you have 38 seconds left. Go ahead.
Yes.
And don't forget to drop the site, the URL of the site in there too, please.
Yes, of course. So at timeofjoy.com or Time of Joy on Instagram, I have a beginner course that is more do-it-yourself. You just purchase it and you go through it without talking to me. I have a medium-sized course that is more of a group program where everyone's interacting and I'm helping people. And then I have one-on-one coaching, which is just me and you. We talk all the time, and that is for people who are really looking
Gotta
to
go.
accelerate
I hate to
their brand.
interrupt. Gotta go. Thank you very much. Ask Brien.